Good morning and welcome, friends. Let's start our class today with the prayer together. Heavenly Father, Divine Mother, friend, beloved God, great masters, Jesus Christ, Babaji Krishna, Lahiri Mahashaya, Swami Shri Yukteswarji, beloved Master Paramahansa Yogananda Ji, saints of all religions, we bow at thy feet. And we ask thy blessings on our class today on this satsang. Be with us now and always. Om Shanti Shanti. Let's hear a song by Swami Kriyanandaji and then an excerpt from a talk by Swamiji on service, a way of freeing us from ego. Welcome again, friends.
Lord Most High, our Heavenly Father, all our lives we dedicate to Thee. All our labors, all our joys and woes, all our pleasure, all our melody. Make us each a channel of thy peace. When in darkness, guide us from above. Where there's sorrow, may we sow thy joy. Where there's hatred, may we share thy love.
Lord Most High, our Heavenly Father, all our lives we dedicate to Thee. All our labors, all our joys and woes, all our pleasure, all our melody. Make us each a channel of thy peace. When in darkness, guide us from above. Where there's sorrow, may we sow thy joy. Where there's hatred, may we share thy love.
But at the same time, the thing that really determines what you will be able to accomplish is energy. It's putting the energy out to serve people, putting the energy out above all to serve God. And this is the next aspect then of it. The first is that freedom, which is really responsible for success. Not to think too much in terms of what could go wrong and all the facts and so on. Just know that that energy is there. And the second thing is know from where that energy comes. This is an illustration I often use too, when you've got a guitar, you've got a sounding board under the strings that gives them power. And if you only had the strings strung between 2 points, but with no sounding board, it would give a very thin tone. So it is that if we act with our egos out of attunement with the great symphony of life and with God, then we find that we have less power. People who are a part of a big organization have a certain power just because they're a part of that organization, but it's of the world. Those who are in tune with God, even though they don't know the rules of the world, somehow they are prevented from making disastrous mistakes and they come through. The divine is always there supporting them. Remember that story of the Gita, Krishna not taking part in the battle, and yet because he was present on the side of the Pandavas, his very presence there ensured their ultimate success. So karma yoga has this other aspect to it too. First of all, nishkam karma, which is to say action without desire for the fruits of action, and the other is this consciousness of being an instrument for a higher power to flow through you. Now, when you can act in that way, that is when you can act in the best possible way. There is a beautiful poem that Master wrote. If I remember, I'll read it tomorrow morning at the service. I was made for thee alone, and I was made for dropping flowers of devotion gently at thy feet on the altar of the morning. My hands were made to serve thee willingly. My feet were made to seek thy temples everywhere. My voice was made to sing thy praises, and so on. I forget the words now. I used to recite it every morning in my meditations. But it's so beautiful to think that my body is really an instrument for the divine. We should try to live that way.
Welcome again, friends. I'd like to start today with a few beautiful quotes I found online on service. This is from Martin Luther King Jr., this first one. Life's most persistent and urgent question is, what are you doing for others? Then Mother Teresa, give your hands to service and your hearts to love. And Albert Schweitzer, the purpose of human life is to serve and to show compassion and the will to help others. And Mahatma Gandhi, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. And Tagore, I slept and dreamt that life was joy. I awoke and saw that life was service. I acted, and behold, service was joy. And finally, Leo Tolstoy, joy can only be real if people look upon their life as a service and have a definite object in life outside themselves and their personal happiness. I was remembering when I lived in Ananda in Italy, when we were starting the work there, there were people from all over Europe were coming and considered that their home. And there was kind of a debate at different times about the food, I remember. The German gurubais wanted potatoes and whatever else, and the Italians wanted the pasta every day. And I loved Swamiji's solution. He said, forget about the food, feed their souls. And then everybody will be happy with the food, meaning think of giving to their soul. And this is really what it's about when we talk about ego. When we serve, we're giving to the soul of that person. We're giving from our soul to their soul. And I remember when I started with Ananda, initially, I didn't really know what service was about. And I knew I needed to do something with my life rather than just go to a job every day. And so I thought about joining the Peace Corps, various things. There was just a void in my life. And then I found out about Ananda because I read Master's book, Autobiography of a Yogi, and I thought, gosh, everyone should read this. Everyone should follow these teachings. This is just fantastic. There's so much in these teachings. And so then I went to Ananda and I saw people there. And people were serving joyfully, helping each other, supporting each other, encouraging each other. And I just thought this was the missing part of my life. And Master said that it's a big part of our life. It helps to remove the little self, the ego within us that says, I am this person, I have this job, I am this race, I'm this nationality, I like this food, I don't like that food. Swamiji said beautifully, we're a bundle of self-definitions. And ego is, Master defined it as the soul identified with the body. and only the body, that this is who I am. And as we begin to serve, we realize that we're much more than this body, these personalities, and all the self-definitions that we have, that we're much more expansive, that we're the greater self, that we're the higher self, that we have a higher consciousness, that we have a higher duty in life than just to take care of ourselves. And I remember before Ananda, I thought, well, gosh, what do people do with their lives? And, at that time it was like socializing and television and shopping. And I kept thinking, there's just got to be something else to do with one's life. And then when I came to Ananda, I realized, and I saw people serving, that filled the void in my heart. This is what it's about. It's not even about my own meditation, my own self-realization, my own energy in my spine and all that. It's about how can I give to others? And as I give to others, I will receive what I need. Master said the channel is blessed by what flows through it. So as you give, you give joy, happiness, a smile to someone. We just finished Diwali and all the gifts that were given and everything, and times with family. It's a time to share what we have, share the joy within. And Seva helps us to expand our consciousness and realize we're much more than who and what we think we are. And also you feel you're a part, that you're a channel for what's happening, not that you're the source. And so many people, I hear them say, well, that was my idea, or this is mine, or this is the way I want to do it. But we have to realize that really, if we open ourselves, I love Swamiji gave this beautiful example of a hose. And he said, if the hose is kinked, then there's no flow. And so the same with being a channel. If you're open and willing and wanting and enthusiastic and happy to do something, then you find that there's a strong flow. Some people have that and some people just don't, because of wrong attitudes. Oh, it's all about me or whatever. So on this path, our duty is to more and more open ourselves up as channels. And we're not the source of that, but God's energy, God's magnetism, Master's joy, his enthusiasm are flowing through us to serve and to help other people. And Master said, I killed Yogananda long ago. No one dwells in this temple now but God. And I, the cosmic sea, I watch the little ego floating in me. He was far more than that little ego. And Swamiji, the same as Swamiji was able to do so many things because he saw himself as a channel for Master. You probably remember the story of when Swamiji first came. Well, there are many things that he was able to do. And I think it's wonderful to keep it in mind. There are many things you can do, so much more that you can do, so much better you can do it, so much more, with so much more energy and enthusiasm and magnetism and power flowing through you. If you see it's God flowing through me. And Master asked Swamiji to go and speak on his behalf at one of the churches. And Swamiji had only been with Master 8 months. Now, that's not a lot of time at all, 8 months. But he said yes. Now, that's the thing. When people ask you to do something, oh, who, me? Isn't there somebody else? Oh, I don't want to do it. Oh, I can't speak. Oh, I don't sing well. I can't play the harmonium. Oh, I can't lead the prayer, or whatever it is. I learned to say yes. And as Dhyana Mata said, say yes and make it snappy. And what happens is that you just find that somehow Master's working through you. You have to prepare yourself. But sometimes you don't have that preparation time. Anyway, Swamiji went, he said yes. He had to give the talk. All these people were waiting for Master to appear, and there he was, a 22-year-old, but he did it. And he learned from it, and they got something from it. Also, after that, he had to give Kriya. Now, he said, I only have one Kriya of my own, but he did it. And Master used him. This is the point. Let Master use you as a channel. Pray and ask, how do you want to use me? What can I do? How can I serve? And if it's through the yoga postures or reading at the satsang or doing a prayer or calling people or healing prayers, or there's so many ways one can serve. But Master said meditation helps your service, service helps your meditation. You need both. And Swamiji was able to do the yoga postures when he couldn't do them at all. But when Master asked him to do them, he suddenly was able to do them. And so we have to realize the Guru is asking us to serve and to serve his work. Now, why? Because it helps us. I remember one time I was coming from Europe, moving back to America. And Swamiji had asked me to do a particular thing, to come to a talk he was giving. And I thought, gee, I've already got my ticket. It's, I'm not going to be able to make it for that date. It's going to cost more money to get the ticket changed. And there were so many excuses. And I got there and on the date that I wanted to arrive, and Swamiji met me at the airport, and he was not pleased. He said, "Why didn't you come?" And I gave all the excuses I could, but he said, "No, you should have been there." Now, afterwards, I thought, no, he didn't need me to be there. I needed to be there. He didn't need me, I needed him. And this is the point. It's not so much that we're thinking of what is it going to give me. We need to serve so that we can change. Master's asking us to do it, to be able to change. And finally, if we serve with enthusiasm and willingness, instead of it's a job. I was so touched in Gurgaon. It was when Jyotishan Devi Ji came there for their talk. And it was very moving to me. There were so many people helping, for one. And I'm sure it's at all the centers where they're going. But one particular thing really touched my heart when we were having the lunch there with Jyotishan Devi Ji after the talk. And there were, I don't know, seemed like hundreds of people around, but we were in a particular room with them. There were the monks there and different center leaders. And the center leaders, the core members, I should say, and leaders of Gurgaon they were serving. And they were serving us. And I just kept thinking, I just know they want to sit at this table with Jyotishan Devi Ji, but they made the conscious choice. No, it's not about us. It's about service. And I saw people, people I'd never seen really serving a lot there, who were serving. It was just really, really the right spirit. And that's the thing. Swamiji said once when he was in the monastery at Mount Washington, that there was a Christmas lunch, and they all had their places where they were going to sit with Master, and everybody had nameplates and all at the different seats. And then a whole lot of people appeared at the last minute, and they had to give up their seats. And they immediately got up and gave the seats. And Swamiji told Master later, he said that the only fighting was to give up people's seats. It wasn't, I'm not going to give up my seat. No, I've been waiting all year to sit with Master. I'm not going to allow that. No, it's just not the right way. And Swamiji said, we heard this recently from Jyotishan Devi Ji, the definition of an acharya is someone asked Swamiji, and he said, what is it? People who, how do you determine? And Swamiji said, well, we watch people. And the man said, what do you watch? You watch their talks, or can they speak well, or what? And Swamiji said, no, that's not what we look for. We look for a person. And there are acharyas who never give a talk. You have to know that. Very deep souls. And he said, we watch and see if in their midst of their own troubles and trials, are they still willing to serve others? Are they still serving? And this is the point. And I remember I used to go to Swamiji with different difficulties. He didn't spend much time. He would just get you serving. I would say, Swamiji, I just one thing I want to ask you. And he would say, here, go do this. And I'd come back and say, but what I want to ask you is, here's something else to do. And well, I just want to, here's something else. And by the time I finished doing all the things he had me to do, I didn't have the question anymore. And this is the thing. Just know, Master, he knows what he's doing. He said to serve, to be in tune with me, serve. And as you serve, you see the problems just start falling away. The wrong attitudes start falling away. The difficulties, the wrong behaviors, the habits you don't want, they just start falling away. But you have to serve with the right spirit, with love, with joy. And there was one nun who Master told her she worked too hard, and she said, okay, I won't work as much. And they gave her more to do. She said, gosh, he's telling me, but he's giving me more work. He kept giving her more and more and more, until she finally said, Master, why don't we change the word work to service? And he said, now you've understood. You've been thinking work, work, work all your life. When you change that word to service, you'll find you have more energy than you ever dreamt of, and you can do anything with that energy. So I'd like to close now with a couple of quotes from Jyotishji from the book that he's writing, will be writing very soon. He has these principles written already on Ananda Seva. I'll just read 3 or 4 of them. There are 13 total. Ananda Seva is a means of dissolving the ego and a means of attaining liberation. Another one, attunement to our masters and Ananda's ray gives our seva power. Another, we should feel that we are channels for the divine to serve through us. Another, we should strive to see Divine Mother in the various forms we serve. Another, the attitude with which we serve is more important than what we do. And finally, we should offer all fruits of our service back to the divine from whom it comes, and realize that everything comes from God. I'll ask Nitendra to join me now with a few questions.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. I'll share the list of questions here. The first question, Dhyanaji, is many people do service to get something back. Would that be considered as true seva?
Well, that's a good question. It's better to do that than nothing. Master says, even better to do good, to hear somebody praise you, than to not to do anything. But it's directional. If that's all I can do, that's what I'll do. And let's face it, a lot of people do that. But I remember when Swamiji praised people, you would think, oh my gosh, that guy or that lady's going through a test, a spiritual dry point or a test or something, because Swamiji didn't praise you, period. Very rarely. I just can't remember. I honestly, I can't remember any time I heard him praising me. I just didn't want it. You didn't want it. But if that's all you can do, do it for that. And then as you do more, you'll find that you don't need that. You don't need that. But it's a starting point, better than not doing anything. And then you'll find that after a while, you don't even want it, because you know that's feeding a part of you that you're not trying to increase. So better to, what Master would say and Swamiji would say, God is the doer. And so if somebody does praise you, you can say God is the doer, something like that, but don't take it to yourself. It's too easy to fall from ego. You want to be releasing that, not having it get bigger and bigger.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. The next question is, what Seva opportunities are there through the Sangha, and who should I reach out to?
I would say reach out to your center leader, or if you're online, to Bar and Shamani, if you're home study, to Shankara and various ones. There are so many opportunities, IT, website, calling people, healing prayers, yoga, if you can take yoga teacher training, teaching meditation, if you take meditation teacher training, bringing flowers, bringing prasad, setting up the chairs, greeting people. I think Swamiji created jobs for people because everybody had something to do. No one was idle. And that's what you don't want to be, is idle, that I don't have anything to do. Find something, create something, ask if you can help. And there's a beautiful story we heard at Panchil just recently when Jyotish and Deviji were there, from one of the acharyas, actually, now, that she said that she was new and she was there at the center and she really wanted to serve, but nobody asked her. And so she just was very quiet. She's a very shy person. And she said one of the core people came to her one Sunday, after the satsang, and said, "Can you take this cup of tea to the person in the boutique because they haven't had anything and they're serving in there?" She said she was so happy to just take the cup of tea to them. She said, after that, I felt like I was included. And so also the center leaders, I don't think there's a problem with this, with the center leaders, ask people to help and to serve. And you can't do it all by yourself. The best leader is one who works with a team and who can create and keep a good team. So that's the other side of it.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. We have a live question, Dhyanaji. Sometimes people also serve in other ways, like feeding stray dogs on the street and so on.
Yeah.
Could that be also considered part of the seva on this path as well?
I mean, let's look at it. Your whole life should be a seva, isn't it? What is seva really? Everything I'm doing, I have the thought of God in my mind, isn't it? So you can feed the stray dogs and not have any thought of God serving through you, or you can feed them with the thought. You can give a beggar something with the thought of I'm giving blessings, or you can just, hey, here's something, and you can, you can do things, you can bring flowers to the center and not have any thought that are doing it for God. I'm doing it, I'm just giving the flowers. So it's your mental attitude, really, isn't it? It's how you do what you do. Your whole life can be, the direction as your whole life becomes a seva. Now, who's the example of that? Swamiji. Everything he did was offered at the feet of his guru, at the feet of Divine Mother. And that's true seva. So I'd say yes, if you have the right spirit, the right attitude, smiling at somebody walking down the street is a seva. Saying hello, namaskar to someone who's looking sad as you walk by. There's so many ways to serve. I think you understand the point, though. It's how you do what you do. And just do your best. You can't become perfect overnight. Just do your best. Some situations are more difficult. How can you see God in your boss if he's yelling at you? No. But later on that day, maybe you can pray for your boss or pray for your spouse or your children. Or it's important to try your best. You don't always win, but you get better and better.
Thank you, Dhyanaji. One last question. I don't have much time after work and family duties to do seva. So can I do those things itself as seva?
Yeah. yes. But I would say for a devotee, a disciple, also choose something. It could be doing healing prayers for people after your meditation. Choose something that's specific to Master's path as well as everything else. Because you will just find that he said it, to be in tune with me, serve my work. So it helps your attunement. It's a very clear way to be in tune and more attuned to Master. If you find something, it could be praying for people, it could be calling people to tell them about the satsang, it could be going early to the center and helping to set up. I mean, there's so many things. I think if you want to do it, you find the time. If you don't want to do it, you'll never have the time. So just make it a practice. Also serving in a way financially for the center. The center has to run one way or another. That's another way you can help. But I would say from today onwards, if you haven't found anything to do, find something. I tell you, from meditating and serving, it's the airplane route. Meditation by itself, I mean, you're slogging through mud a lot of the times, but service is used a straight arrow, and that brings the meditation up. So don't delay. Find some way to serve Master's work, and then try to feel that everything you do, and more it'll become a reality rather than an affirmation, is giving yourself all that you are to God. God bless you all. Have a wonderful day. Thank you, Natindra. Bye-bye.